I didn't really order any poems. I just printed up a whole bunch of poems. So it's going to be just a surprise, I suppose. I kind of have this rule of thumb not to read the same poem twice, although that's happened maybe once or twice. But this weekend, I'm really going to try not to read the same poem twice. We'll have 3 readings. So that might be somewhat of a challenge. But I'm going to start with a poem about writing poetry. Open me with a fire of words. I long for the quiet hour within the hour within myself, in which myself expands with quiet into quiet. I am stilled then to hear the resonance of a stirring word, the words thrumming yes against the solar plexus, this knife of the sun, this the pronouncement of lightning, engendered in me, in the quiet hour, in the exquisite quiet hour. I wrote this poem about my father had a boat business in Lafayette and was always on the water a lot. And he died 4 years ago, and I quit smoking 4 years ago after he died, so it'll be 4 years this month that I quit smoking. But after he died, I wrote a lot of poems to kind of see me through the grief, and I wrote this one, and it was based on a true story that he almost drowned in the Vermilion River. All these years that he was on the water fishing in boats, he never wore a life jacket, and he didn't know how to swim. But he would go wide open with all those stumps in the Atchafalaya Basin, and he never had a problem. But when he was a boy, he almost drowned, and his uncle got him out. He was deep in the river, and his uncle was able to find a limb and a floating limb and poke around in the water and found him and pulled him out of the water. So this poem is for him, and it's Father Almost Drowning. You, a boy nearly drowning, went into the body of darkness, and darkness held to you. Mud rose to blind you. Silken weeds flourished in your lungs. Branches of sunken trees made wounds of your ankles. And when your uncle's hand fished you out, the water, sick as acid, shit thick with oil, bled out of your mouth. Still rusted cars sleep demolished on the banks, and all things green are dying. This poem is titled Poem Composed After Reading Plath's Ariel at a Junkyard. And literally, I had been sitting in a truck while my husband was looking for something at a junkyard to put on a rebuild truck that he was working on. And I was reading Ariel in the cab while he was working. And this poem came from that. He went looking for wires for a simulacrum of the horse chained to the Chevy at the junkyard horse that is starving with only rust to eat. But the dead are falling out of the sky, splattering on the road or getting caught in leafless branches of trees. And he swings at those skeletons, dropping upon him like mad, raving breathlessly at this mad scene. Oh, his old shins ache from running, but he can't shake free from his very own bones. And the mirror this morning was a brittle sea when the razor caught his cheek in its teeth, and there was blood shed in the white porcelain sink. I have a chapbook that I'm seeking to have published, and it's titled Dreams of Horses. The horse imagery comes up a lot in my poems, and this one is simply titled Horses. I am thinking again of the horses, the dark worlds of their eyes. I wonder why I am drawn to them, to their spirit ways. There is some kinship we share, a hidden knowledge or remembrance of a wholeness of life in which we each knew our part and rose to it. The horses are starving. The horses are flying to gold horizons. Tonight, a white horse gleams under a clear sky, and the moon shivers in retreat. This poem was written probably within a day after the earthquakes in Japan. What came after? I had been craving you and felt the earth quiver for an instant and thought of your feet bare on the rocks at the coast of the island. And we engaged our thoughts in those horrific seconds to meet in the only way the gods would allow through the ether, our thoughts locked in stony motion. We are bound to our villages. We are bound to the rubble that is our beds. And I sprang to attention when the sun broke like the yolk of a duck's egg, the sun looming so brightly, bloody and real. We named ourselves after the mountains, but forgot what shifted beneath us. Why does the earth hate me so to take you from me? The sea took me into its mouth and spit me out onto broken wood. I floated with corpses. My history unraveled all at once. I became no one. My friend Zeralda's here, and she's a photographer. And we've been working together on a series of her photography, and then usually I'll just look at it and something will come out, and it may seem relatable to the poem. I mean, the poem may seem relatable to the photograph, but it's they haven't been displayed together yet, but we're still working on it. This one is titled Convergence, after the photograph Burdened Sky by Zeralda. We wait for the landscape to split from these two dimensions. The lens is half asleep or engaged in meditation. We hope that a stray occur will jog across the grave limestone or wish for dead leaves to rise mythically. Ghost wheels, ghost whistle, the whole scene distills to black to white, unleashing the indomitable core. Railway lines converge. The sky becomes burdened with a broken Jesus, one rusted spike through his palm. I don't have any lighthearted poems. I don't think I've ever written one, ever. It's this poem is titled Catharsis. The planet is strapped to my back. Moons jiggle in my stomach. I'm making fists, tightening my toes, clenching my urethra. My anguish is at saturation point. I'm beating the walls until they are fist-marked. Pulling electrical wires does no good. Give me an orgasm. My cries will crack the iron locking my gut shut. I need a long drive on a black road, a wildfire. Birds fly in smoke. The scattering deer look beautiful and scared. I have a collection that's currently being considered by a press that has been working with me for a little bit over a year, sending it back and telling me that, where they kind of saw some revisions would be needed and some guidance. But I began the collection with a title, Garbage Woman, and I titled it after this poem, but it had connotations that I really didn't want associated with the manuscript, so I gave it a different title, but this is the poem, Garbage Woman. I am a gallows tree, bottle glass chicken bones, jointed mannequins of milk jug plastic, drowned oaks, crab shells, wind-struck birds, seaweed, guts, and eels hang. I am a body of water. The love letters you folded into paper boats sail across my hips, burn to ash in faraway volcanoes. My palms weep with pearls. My my writing life probably began way back before I could speak, and then as language became more familiar to me, it developed. But I always feel I was born to be a writer. And in 2004, I had a son that was when I was younger, and he died in 2004. And when he died, he had been a special needs child. And when he died, I felt like I needed to make a commitment to my writing because in his memory, to help me through the grief. And this is one of the first poems that I wrote after his passing. And his name was Adam. Ice to water. The hospital room is cool. There are moths in your breath. Circled in ice, you're enwrapped in white fire. Coffee-colored urine drains in a bag. I swab your lips with lemon glycerin. Your pulse beeps loss. I buzz a nurse out of the void. I cannot watch you die. The doctor scowls at my cowardliness. Stunted from birth, plucked too early, you were wingless. It took me years to believe it wasn't my fault. You despaired in an infant's life. I choose blue for the burial, the thunderhead in your eyes. The undertaker powders the fine hairs of your face, seals you in secret. Got to save some for New Orleans. I've never read in New Orleans. I'm really, really excited about this, and I want to thank Jonathan for asking me to participate. I'm very excited about it. And this is a poem that Jonathan published, I think, in August or maybe September at Unlikely Stories. He liked this one, and I kind of wrote it in a different style and a different voice than maybe I'm accustomed to, because I was just kind of doing something experimental, which seemed to be, maybe I could be wrong, but it seemed to be somewhat of a taste of that's coming up. So we'll just leave it for posterity and those that study my letters to determine. Poem at Red Moon, full August moon. The desert is a wreck of broken teeth, rusted cages of mummified dogs, a passel of sun orphans. The black river Ouroboros swallows the faint of hearts who are eternally mourning. Under a red moon, the salacious sky raises her skirts to show us what we've paid for. We grind against her burning mouth, satiating our myriad hungers. When the red moon breaks orbit and crumbles, stars twist in orgiastic fires. See how their brilliance illuminates the pale art of my veins. And I'll probably just read one more. Want it to be a good one, so I'm gonna take a moment. The title of the manuscript that I'm working on right now, that's finished, that I'm trying to have published, is Eating the Heart First, and this is the title poem. Her body bristles. She hears the plucked string, the whoosh of arrow. When she is felled, you must eat the heart first. It is a hellish flower. Cut it out whole, its pulse fills your hand. She will talk in your skin. Her fear will mingle with your own. Cold you sleep, your dreams flood with moons. Wolves hunt this night of your mind, keep you running. Thank you.